Oh, nice. Guess what we're doing today? Nice. Here today with Mabel. Hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Little project today. Of course, I have a day off. The next 2 days are going to be crazy hot and sunny, and I'm going to be working probably all weekend. So let's get into handguards. So these are actually Gasgas, but really they're Cycra Pro Bend CRMs. And they have a real cool mount because it mounts right towards the center of basically your bar clamps. And so super adjustable. They're premium, they're pricey, but I think it's worth it. And if you've been riding, well, let's check these out. So these are the factory handguards, if you want to call them that. I mean, really, they're just wind guards. And so, yeah, they keep some wind off your hands, but, you know, I've only flipped the bike over once, and thankfully they didn't break off, but there's really no protection there for your hands or your levers. And so, for sure, the CRMs are the way to go. On my handlebars, so I got to work out, you know, what I'm doing with my GoPro, if I keep this mount or if I get some kind of center mount, or my quad lock, I mean, and my GoPro. I actually have my clamping mount that's higher up for my GoPro, and all this USB, heat, traction control. That's why, you know, one of the reasons I went with the CRM, because it's going to mount right here. Let's figure this out. One of the main reasons I went with these is because they're Gasgas. They're fully spec CRMs in black with the Gasgas livery. That's pretty sick. The other thing that's really cool with these, we'll see when we mount them up, but when these are on your bars, you can see how they have this dip. So when you're putting your hands on your grips, this will actually leave you a little bit extra space, just make it easy to take your hands on and off. But also these end pieces are actually replaceable. So instead of scuffing up this anodized aluminum, you can bang up these guys and get a new set for about 15 bucks. Those mounting brackets, they're pretty cool. Lots of different positions. Obviously lots of room to mount over any size of bars. All the hardware you need here. End caps. I've got the weights off. Those are actually pretty heavy. I didn't realize how heavy they were. And these look super aero when you want them to be, but they do have filler pieces that fill in those gaps. When you want, you know, full coverage, like up here in Canada, most of the time we are going to want these in. Everything out of the way. Got the GoPro out of here. Just moved my quad lock out of the way. This has a million angles, so I'm sure I can work with it here. And these guys, obviously when you set these up, set them up loose at first, because 100% we're going to be going back and adjusting these. These bigger screws are an 8mm. And the smaller ones are, I think, a 4. So you just need some Allen keys and you're all good. I like that these screws are black, but I'm not a fan of these colored ones because they always scar up when you use tools on them. But let's start there and see where we go. MacGyver here. Here's the hardware. There are some little instructions on the back of this. There's also tons of videos with people doing Cycra installs. They did include a couple Allen keys in the set. We'll definitely quickly lose those or throw them in the bicycle toolbox. All the hardware. And anyone who's done mirrors or end weights, there's always a couple of different versions of these guys depending on how wide your bars are. Just use the one that gives you a real snug fit. These got to lock right in when they're in position, so one of these two will do the trick. Very cool. ProBend CRM for dummies. I've done a lot of fitting on my bike, but if you haven't done this kind of stuff, there's that set screw for the handlebar. The flange goes on first with the wings pointing in. And then this is that little set screw. It's kind of a diamond shape, so it forces to the center. And you'll see that lines right up into this butterfly position. So then you can tighten this up when you're ready. And I'll take this off. I'm just kind of testing this out. On the inside clamp here, in the setup, there's only 2 of these big screws, and they will be the only ones that will thread in here. And that's where you can just find your right position once you get this all set up. So let's take the old guards off and do a little test fit. But you can see here, this is all one unit. And so this is the only bolt that goes through. It's a T27 Torx. And this guy, oh, mine has a zap strap. So I'm just going to cut that. Toolkit. You have in your stock toolkit a little 6mm socket. Because what we want to do is just take off this plastic guard and then put this shield back on where your lever is. And then I'll just get that zap strap back in place. Make sense? So I don't know what you guys think, but I kind of like the idea of having this extra guard here, even though it's inside my guard. And I'm just going to fit the CRM guard there and see if that will fit over top. So there's this guy. Yeah, interesting. It's a little fussy with these tabs. I don't really want to cut them off, but I could definitely make that work and keep those in place. And then once the guard's on, they'll probably be invisible anyways. But that's just layer number 2 of protection if I can keep that on there. Saving you guys all the trouble and all the trial and error I've done. So I've got everything loose here. And so here's where I've come to. Of the 3 positions, screw on the bottom here on the guard, in the center hole here on the mount, and it is nearly perfectly flush and everything's still loose. And so then I'll tighten this up after. And it's just sitting right on top of this little piece. If I was really fussy, I might actually just hack those off. I'm going to try to leave them on there and see how it goes. So on my left, like I said, I've got a lot going on here. But what I've also found is, as I'm riding, I found my lever was a little bit too high up. And so I would like it down a little bit, especially when I'm standing up. And so while I'm doing all this, I've already rolled this one forward a little bit. So I'm going to do the same here. And then that will probably get this to match. Rookie mistake. I forgot what this bike was leaning this way, that my lever would fall out when I took that bolt out. Let's get this off. You can see my reflection with the GoPro. That's hilarious. I'm pretty OCD with my OEM stuff too, so I usually put all the screws back where they came from. So then if I go, who knows, one day sell the bike, put that back on. Let's put this back together. After I'm done too, I'll get the torque out and check all my torque specs on these. Like I said, I'm leaving everything super loose right now just to get this all into position. Then once I sort out all these wires too, I'll put another zap strap through here. So in theory, if I put this in the same position, have my bars clamps at the same angle, this should all line up, right? Hopefully that lever position is still good. Might have to tip my bars back just to get my hands back in the right place. All right, just snug. Nothing's really sealed up yet, but let's check that out. Oh yeah, the low angle here is awesome because you can just reach in and not even think about it. Cool. I'll probably mess around with this. And like I said, like there's a lot of trial and error here to get everything in the right position. And then we'll get the covers on. Get it all tightened down. I'm not going to use any Loctite yet, but once I know I've ridden it and I'm happy, then I'll put all that in and maybe use some blue Loctite in place. Okay, this is just a test fit. So these guys have, you'll find 6 of these screws, and then they have washers or backing nuts that will go in there. But first thing I'm going to do is put in these filler pieces so I have all my vents covered. It's still pretty cold section for Canada. These are the wind guards. You can see there's a little tab here. So when you put these in, they'll actually hook in. And then there's a whole bunch of these little screws with washers and nuts. And so one screw there. This one does the same. There's a little notch there. So it'll be like that when you've got your full wind protection on. Well, in the shop, they're like, oh, those are the best ones. I have those on all my bike, blah, 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 blah. The more I'm going through this process, these ProBend CRMs are actually really awesome. These guys have thought of everything. Very impressed. And, you know, with the perforations, with the venting, for some reason they don't look as big, but look at the coverage. It's way more coverage than I had before. And obviously way more protection. Guys, you'll see in the box, you'll have 6 sets of screws. So there's 3 for each side. So screw and the backing nut. Actually has a little sliding plate back here so they fit right in place. The third one, the third one that just took off, is for the side here that holds your guard on. Let's just put all these on. There we go. You can see there's a nice, I'm gonna keep dropping these. There we go. You see in the back here, there's a nice groove cut in for the insert, so it pops right in. And these guys are all 4mm hex. And like I do everything, I'm just going to put these in snug for now, and then I'll come back and tighten everything up. This one on the outside has the guard, and you can see there's a little slot here for the guard. So you have to line all of that up together. There it is, lined up, gets in there square. Again, I'll just snug that up for now. Oh, did I get it? Yeah, that one's a tough one. There's a lot of material in there that needs to get through. Last one. That goes through this plastic guard all the way through. You really got to get that snapped in tight to get it to thread. Nice. Other side, now the other side. For way too long. Here's the sequence. Do the outside one, do the inside one, do this pinchy one last. I might do a little messing with my bars a little bit to get them up a little bit, but I want to ride them first and see how it feels. But my advice for Cycra on these CRMs is, out of these 3 screws, or 6 altogether, this one should be just a little bit longer, because you really have to fit this in tight and you really get this in position, or it's not going to thread. Nice. That's crazy. They do look down a little bit, but like I said, I'm going to go after outside this video, go play with my bar settings, my position and my mirrors and try it out. But safety first. Those are solid. Definitely worth the extra money. So that was actually very smooth. Great construction. Looks pretty sick. Hey, Mabel. But that followed the grip install, or the guard install, followed by an hour of trying to figure out, or 2 hours, how to move all my electronics around and fit them around these clamps. So if you do that, be ready. But that's it for today. That's pretty cool. Thanks for watching. We'll have some more stuff coming. Some more work on the Ducati coming too. I'm ordering a bunch of tires for all the bikes. This rear tire is pretty much shot, so I'm going to replace them both actually with some Midas tires. But that's it for today. Pretty cool. Team Gasgas. Thanks for watching. See y'all soon. Watch out for that fence. GoPro fail number 1. Quick test fit. My levers actually feel way better. They were way too high before. That's how you do that.